organisational experience, workplace experience. But experience is such a personal thing. What I enjoy isn't what somebody else enjoys. So we need that data that Catherine talked about. Now, we talked about sensor data. Something that I saw recently that's really, really cool is sensor data being used in meeting rooms and in meetings online to look at where the participant was looking during the meeting. And it found that everybody avoided eye contact with the toxic boss. Instead, they looked at their best mate and did a couple of eye rolls. And it's that type of data that we're going to go, that toxic boss there, we've now got another thing here. People aren't even looking when they're talking. So it's that type of data. And I always go back to that golden triangle. You've got the desire data, so you've got survey data that Catherine talked about. But actually, what does it really tell you? Well, it tells you what people want to do. But you then need to know the actual intent. But what are they telling other people that they're going to do? So what does the booking system do? What does the calendar system show? And then on the bottom, really underpinning it, is the actual data. So access control, sensors, it's that type of data, but we've got to get the balance between that golden triangle. You can't just design a workplace, can you, with just the actual data, because otherwise people are going to be a bit grumpy. So that's enough of me. We're now going to introduce Leanne. So Leanne Lynch, she's the Chief Information Officer for ISS UK and Ireland. Prior to being at ISS, interestingly, she looked after cyber defence at Heathrow. So I found that really, really interesting. So hopefully you do. Okay, so over to Leanne and enjoy.
Thank you. Well, good morning, and first of all, thank you very much for the opportunity to be part of today and discuss what it means to our industry to be digitally driven when we are all about people and places. And thank you, Simone, for the introduction. I recently joined UK&I ISS back in September and have only just joined the facilities management industry. Prior to that, I have always worked in technology, and I've worked in technology across a number of industries, including fast-moving consumer goods, manufacturing, internet, mobile telephony, cable television, for some of us that still remember how that worked. And then, as Simone said, I most recently was accountable for all of the IT that underpinned Heathrow Airport, as well as the cyber defence that protected it. I won't go too much into cyber defence, because the answer is no technology. There you go. Thank you. Got to keep to a time. But when I joined facilities management, and when I've worked in all of those industries, the thing that has really been the common theme in the jobs I've taken on is looking at technology, existing technology, emerging technology, and looking to understand how do we select the right technology and shape it to reflect the culture, the people, and deliver the value and the purpose of the businesses. And every time I have gone into a new role, so there has been new emerging technology. And I can't think of a more exciting industry to have joined, as we are in a period of exponential growth in technology. And we genuinely are. If you look back 18 months, at the end of 2022, along came ChatGPT. Within 2 months, 10 million users. Within 4 months, it was obsolete, and the next generative AI came out. And that growth and that change continued throughout 2023. And technology companies continue to embody it and use it and sell it to us and show it how, all the way through to Microsoft, which many of us use, and Copilot, how it could actually, just by shadowing us, do our job, provide our presentations, do our sales pitches, and we were just there for show. And it is that speed of change that also makes us go a little bit, right, and you want a digital roadmap for the next 5 years? By the time I've done slide 1, it's out of date. And so it does make us feel a bit jittery. But when we step back, you and I are already digitally driven. We have already nailed the symbiotic relationship between us and technology. As a species, we have developed this relationship. We can go back to the Stone Age, where we created tools that enabled us to hunt more efficiently, create clothes that meant we could reside in climates that we'd normally migrate away from. We then used technology to harness nature, to grow food. And in turn, that technology changed the way we behaved. We moved away from hunter-gathering. We took the oral word and the way of communicating verbally, and we created the alphabet, the numeric system. And that then enabled us to grow villages that we could manage and then grow into towns and into countries, all because we were able to share that information. Then towards the end of the last century, we entered into the information age, the digital age. And the speed in which the technology started to grow and the way that we started to embrace it sped up. It got quicker. Suddenly a library could all be put online and it could be accessed by everyone all over the world quickly. But we still controlled the pace of technology. The technology that we adopted was the technology that gave us the value that we wanted. The first smartphone came out in the early 90s. IBM released Simon's personal computer. It had a touch screen. It was rather large, but it had some of the functionality we've become so familiar with in current smartphones. But it didn't take off. It had maybe tens of thousands. We weren't ready for it. The supporting technology wasn't ready for it. In the early 2000s, we were capable technically of doing location-based services. On your BlackBerry, yes, BlackBerries, who misses them? On your BlackBerry, I could have configured and sent a notification to tell you that as you went past Marks and Spencer's, there was an offer on. But nobody could understand, well, who owns that relationship? Is it Marks and Spencer's? How do you validate the voucher? Is it the banks? So we weren't ready for it. And then along comes the smartphone, the iPhone in 2007. And suddenly, in the palm of our hands was a device that we got. And we started to demand more from that device, and we started to shape it by insisting that we could have the many platforms that we did our jobs, we started to want to have in one place. We wanted to be able to listen to music. We wanted to be able to do our banking, book our holidays. We continue to push and drive not only the smartphone capability, but all the technology around it, Wi-Fi, 5G, that was needed to enable us to have that seamless experience. And at home, we are creating smart buildings. We are already looking to devices that will help us manage our houses, whether we are in them or out of them. When we are away, we can use devices to check the security of the perimeter. When we're at home, we can check the same devices to see who's coming up the driveway and pretend we're away. We can use devices for when we're coming home to control the lighting, to control the heating. Alexa, turn on the lights. Alexa, turn on the heating. Alexa, read the children a bedtime story. I've never done that for anybody in the room. I should have maybe done that as a hands up to how many of you have. Yeah. And we're also now starting to create ourselves as an Internet of Things. We are starting to wear devices that help us monitor the way we exercise, help us understanding what external factors have had an impact on our pace of running or our frequency of being able to exercise. And also what food we eat and the reaction our body has when we have it. So we have already nailed being digitally driven. And we have already started to build a symbiotic relationship with that technology, focusing on the technology that suits us. And each and every one of us in this room will have a unique symbiotic relationship with technology that suits you as a person and the family and the environment. So as we go forward into our workplace, we just need to apply those same principles. Yes, it's overwhelming at what's coming at us. But in facilities management, we have such power of visibility of the way humans behave and navigate through buildings that we are probably, I can't think of a better place industry that can actually start to really truly challenge how do you harness technology to be digitally driven and remain human-centric. And you only need to look at the scope of sites that is available just in the UK for us in facilities management. And the places that we go to work, the places that we go to be educated, that produce the products we consume, that enable us to be safe, to be looked after. And that's not including the shops, the leisure facilities, the hotels, and so on. We, as facility management, have visibility to how all of those sites achieve their purpose. And then the people that turn up to those sites in order to deliver those experiences. We are there to work with them and see how they navigate those sites to deliver the experience, to deliver the culture. We truly are in a place that puts us, I think, ahead of other industries when it comes to understanding how to embrace that technology. But I think both Catherine and Simone have touched on, and I'm sure we will go through it a number of times, at the centre of everything is us and how we will do things. And so there's a couple of things that I want to share with you today, is how we are looking to empower our people who manage and work in those buildings to provide the experiences the sites need to deliver, and then how we're working with our customers to ensure that they get the information they need so that they can enjoy the experience and they can be efficient and productive. So my ISS, okay, multi-clicks. So my ISS is the tool that we are using to empower our placemakers. And if you think about it, in facilities management, our placemakers are really the true definition of remote workers. Our cleaners, our engineers, our caterers are on the sites of our customers providing the services. And so when they join, we need to give them a tool that makes them feel that they belong to our culture, a tool that will give them a community where they can share learnings from other colleagues who do similar jobs in other sites, that they can manage their employee experience by being able to access their pay slips, their shifts, and talk to their managers. It's also within this that we can start to collect the data about how they experience their workday. How do they get to work? Was there any issues getting to work? What was there? Were there things missing to enable them to do their job? I recently did a back to the floor day with engineers. Missing keys. There's one. The amount of, you turn up on site and somebody hasn't got the key and you're not able to do the job. And with that data and with that information, we continue to develop the tool. And we can use it to develop the way that we assign shifts, the length of times of shifts, the efficiencies. And we can use the external factors that might have had an impact on it, bad weather, good weather, holidays. And all of that can help us provide the data that is needed by our colleagues in order for them to not only feel part of our community, but to also deliver experience. And then when we go back to our customers and working with them, I think Simone has touched on it, and Catherine also went into detail about we're looking for workplace experience. The commute, the building and our workplace has to earn our commute. We have to know that when we go in, we're not just going to go in, be sat at a desk with a headset on and do a bunch of team calls and go home. We are going in to be part of a community. And so part of that is trying to understand what is the data and the information that we need when we go to work, and how can we create a frictionless workplace experience. And how broad does that frictionless workplace experience need to be? And again, it will differ by individual to individual and culture of the company. So for some, it might be as simple as I need to go online, I need to connect with the app with Conveni, I need to be able to see all of the meetings I have, and have I ordered enough food? And then if I find out that I've booked a room for 10 and 5 are now going to be hybrid, I need to quickly be able to change that configuration and also the food that goes with it. And it can go as broad as, for some individuals, actually, I want all of my workplace experience and my journey to the office to be controlled from one place. I want, from the moment I get up and leave my house, to be able to see how the commute is going to affect my day, to know that when I turn up to the office, I can go through the gate, that the coffee I love is ready for me, and the lunch is ordered. So that breadth of how much we want to do is something that we will continue to learn, and it will continue to evolve and adapt. And as we're getting that feedback loop, so we are learning what it is that drives people into offices, and we can start to enrich that data with data from outside of our ecosystem. So we can start to take a look at weather factors, geopolitical factors, all the things that may have impacted that individual's workplace experience, and we can use that to then drive how the next set of actions are presented. Now, not all sites are offices, and one of the ones we wanted to share with you is our unique relationship that we have with the NHS, where what we are looking to do is to provide clinical staff with a frictionless journey in managing their patients. And the idea is to ensure that those staff have all the information that they need in time to enable them to focus on the patient's well-being. And that data is presented through our service point. And what it enables the ward to do is at one point orchestrate the pattern of tasks on the ward based on the patients that are in the wards, the criticality of the patients on the ward, the needs of the ward, the resources available to them, and the staff. And it really is about focusing to support them to drive the efficiencies that they need, but giving them the data in an easy, accessible, and digestible way to make those decisions. So there are three areas that we've really started to work with our customers and draw out the colleague experience, the workplace experience, and then within the NHS, working across the NHS to understand how we can continue to support the patient journey. But what about the places? Now, again, Internet of Things. Now, that has been a word that has been around for ages, and smart buildings have as well. The first smart buildings, I was going to say were built, arrived in the late 70s and early 80s. Systems started to come out that meant that you could manage the environment of those buildings. But the number of devices has exponentially increased since that time, and also the technology to enable us to get access to that information has also increased. But I think, as Catherine pointed out, and I think Simone mentioned from some of the questions in last year, so what? I now have lots and lots of data. So what am I going to do with that data? Yeah, 40% of office and productions, they have Internet of Things. Lovely. But what is the actionable insight I can take from that data? And that is where we have developed a building on a page where we are pulling data, not just from individual customer sites, where we can show the efficiency of the building, we can help make in-the-moment decisions about managing its energy, its waste, and therefore focus on our operational and financial performance, but also pulling together the data of multiple sites and starting to build a pattern that is brought with additional data from outside of our ecosystem, which we can then feed back into those decisions, which can be presented to our customers and our colleagues in a way that is digestible. But where it really comes into its own is when you start to pull all that information together. So once you start to understand the rhythm of the people who operate the building, the rhythm of the people that go there to work, and the building itself, you can start to make in-the-moment decisions around how to adjust. Heating and lighting, you were expecting 30 people to turn up, and suddenly only a 10 there. Well, as you start to invest in the technologies based on the data that you get back where it's best to invest, so you will be able to use building automated systems to say, when there is so many people in the room, turn down the lights. When there's no one on this floor, turn down the energy controls. And so this is the beauty of it. And then you can start to use what drives people in and out of the office to also then drive the way that we continue to manage those buildings. But in all those technologies, the only way we can guarantee that they are going to work is by putting the person at the centre. By understanding people, by understanding the physical environment that they navigate, the physical products and experiences that it delivers, we can then understand what it means for them to be digitally driven. What is the technologies they will adopt, that they will grow, that they will develop. and what is the data that they need in order to make actionable insights. It is, after all, our people that is at the heart of our industry, and therefore it is us, you and I, that will drive the digital agenda. Thank you.